Hello everyone. Hey, it is April 29th. I'm sorry I said April 30th at the last part of that last video. Just in my defense, however, what happened was I was working on another video that actually is longer. It had some more information and I don't think it's quite right for that to come out yet. So I cut that out and then added that second video, and I said April 30th. No, I don't want to wish a day away. So anyway, thanks for catching that. It is still April 29th. It is Monday, and I just wanted to end today. I'll probably have this up in the morning, so you'll probably be seeing it on the morning of April 30th. If not, take that into consideration either way or the other. A little hoarse because I've been doing a lot of talking, not just on the video, but on the phone with other people. Interviewing, things like that. And I think right off the top right now what I'd like to say is this. I want to thank Glenn Beck for his in-depth reporting on the Saudi national thing, and as he admitted, a lot of people were on that story right off the bat, but he really took it to new heights with all the information from his inside sources. I know that it's difficult to put yourself in a position where you're confronting the government like this, but it needs to be done, and I want to commend him for that. I think that's only appropriate that we do. He has done a wonderful job here, and I'm just hoping that in the long run, all of those who are working for the truth will somehow start to get along, to look at the big objective, which is that we need to try to set things right with this government that says that it has no obligation to tell the truth. And it's time that they do. Of course, I don't believe they ever will, but they're not going to if we don't be vigilant and hold their feet to the fire. So thanks, Glenn Beck, for your great work there. I think that was fantastic. My old nemesis, John McCain. Okay, I started talking about Syria in this last video, and I just have to say this again, and I've really been on him before. I'm going to stay calm this time, okay? I'm not even going to call these guys senators. They don't deserve the honor. John McCain and Lindsey Graham. You want to go to war in Syria. Wow. And you're so afraid that those extremists that are fighting with the rebels are going to get their hands on chemical weapons. Well, I tell you what, bright guys, why don't you do this? Why don't you stop funding the rebels? Why don't you stop equipping the rebels? Why don't you stop giving them arms? That might be a really good place to start to keep them from getting this. Syria was no direct threat, clear and present danger to us, the U.S., and never has been. You know as well as I do, because General Wesley Clark revealed it, that there was a letter talking about this five-nation thing that the PNAC wanted to do to take over, that section of the world. And this has nothing to do with any security for the United States, none that you dare talk about. So again, I'm calling you out. This is ridiculous. You waste money, but you waste lives. You allow people's lives to be, I don't want boots on the ground. You say, it's going to end up there because that's what the military-industrial complex wants. That's what you want. It's time to take care of the people in the United States and stop doing this nonsense around the world, and you guys are part of the problem. Actually, the entire Congress is. It's really aggravating. We have these things like Glenn Beck, exposing these things. We have this information that is obviously near treason, and the Congress never does anything. You got a handful of people in there that are actually willing to take on these fights, and that's it. The people have no advocate with this federal government. The states don't stand by the people as an advocate against the federal government. Certainly the representatives, the senators, and the congressmen don't, with the exception of a very few, a handful literally. These sworn agents and officers in all these different bureaus and agencies and law enforcement agencies, etc. They're afraid to do anything, or they're complicit. Nobody will do anything. You blow the whistle on something like the people that have given Glenn Beck this information on this complicit behavior of the government with terrorism, And they're the ones that are in trouble for revealing the criminal behavior instead of the perpetrators. Congress, you have to turn this around, and the people of the United States need to be protected. The purpose of government isn't to give us security, it is to protect our liberties. By protecting our liberties so that we can be responsible for ourselves, then we'll be protected. This is nonsense. You know very well. You know, this whole thing with getting into the UN, and I'm not necessarily a UN basher, but I've worked with them. I know a little bit about them, okay? And you know very doggone well that this UN came about because it was a Marxist attempt by both the capitalists and the communists to bring the world under this Marxist totalitarian regime. And I know that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but you know what? All you got to do is look at the fruits of what has happened, and it tells you up front. Obama was with the weathermen. You know, Bill Ayers, you know, he was raised by these people. He just said the other day, I couldn't believe it. He says, you know, I'm an old socialist now. He didn't say he wasn't a socialist. He just said he's a socialist with gray hair. And that wasn't a joke said at the press conference. He was serious. And why do I know he's serious? Because that's his history. He sealed up all his records so nobody can find out who he really is. You know, transparency in government. Hey, any of us go in for a driver's license and you guys in the federal government want us to, you know, practically give our lives, our right arms, you know, our testicles, our ovaries, to prove who we are. And you let this guy sit in office knowing that he's not authorized to be there. It has nothing to do with being black or white. You know, that whole thing with Bush stealing the election from Gore. You know, no, I didn't like Gore. You know, I'm not in this left-right paradigm, but you people in Congress don't. You do your job. You're all criminals because you're complicit in this. You know that? Co-conspirators. And you know, I've heard some commentators say if this ever gets fixed, all of you are going to jail. And you know what? I'll be there to help them throw you in there. Of course, that's why you're, you know, putting this police state together so that we can't, as a people, protect ourselves against this criminal behavior that you're exercising on a daily basis. And it's almost starting to look like it's on a minute basis. We are being put under a totalitarian fascist dictatorship. We're already there. And you all do nothing about it. You never indicted anybody on Fast and Furious. That alone you could have done it. I said I wasn't going to get upset. I tell you what. No, I'm not going to give them the honor of the office that they hold. They don't deserve it. One of those quick comments I interject here once in a while, you know, I had a person say, well, oh, he was just kidding about that Marxist remark at the dinner. Hey, the President of the United States has the responsibility to espouse and teach constitutional principles, not drag us down some wormhole. All right? Snake hole, maybe that's a better description. Should be a leader in teaching true constitutional principles, not bragging about Marxism even in joking. All right, calm down here and say this. I've heard some people, including myself, say that this is a spiritual war when, you know, there are Christians that talk about the war in heaven and the war, you know, between Satan and Lucifer, and that it's something that was in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, it's still ongoing. We're seeing that now. And if you don't consider yourself spiritual or religious, I don't really care. You know, let's remove ourselves from that. If you don't want to talk about God, you know, right and wrong, if you don't want to talk about good and evil, let's talk about liberty and slavery. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. God is a God, the God that I worship, and I think most people, is a God of liberty. He talked about free agency. All right? So why? Because that's where the individual makes its manifest as a part of God and can keep that individuality if it proves itself. Okay? Evil is the antithesis of liberty. It's slavery or enslavement. So we don't have to talk about good and evil anymore. All we have to do is use this dividing line, ladies and gentlemen. If the person you're talking to is for individual liberty, they have goodness in them. And if they talk about trying to keep you from exercising your individual liberty, which is another way of saying enslavement, they are of the evil side. So let's just forget about all this other religious thing if it's going to divide us and talk about liberty and enslavement, because that's what it comes down to. The God of liberty and the God of slavery. And they're at war with each other here. And there is a dividing line to decide who's going to go where. Okay? And I'm not going to make threats about if you make the wrong decision. As I've said before, you just got to make a decision. You can't be in the center of this thing and not participate. When all this is said and done, you're not going to be able to sit on that fine line. You're going to have to make a decision. But let's just talk about liberty. And I know there are all kinds of things. Well, you got to have some regulations because you can't drive on the left side of the road when everybody's driving on the right. Those are administrative. That's not about liberty. That's just about common sense. We can have laws about administrations and operations. So what? But when you start talking about impinging on individual liberties, government, again, is supposed to be there to protect our liberties, not to keep us safe. The federal government has a requirement to provide for the common defense, yes. But how does it do that? By the citizenry, bringing them in at times of danger. We never were supposed to have a standing army. Jefferson said, we weren't supposed to do that. Although he did say he'd rather face a standing army than a national banking system. And boy, that sure has proven out right. Okay, so liberty or enslavement. It's one or the other. And you folks who are on the spiritual side or religious side, you'll understand what I'm saying. God is liberty. God is individuality, because it's a gift to us, right? Life, right? The devil's about enslavement, about a collectivism of consciousness. And I know I'm going to get some people upset out there with me on that. But you can be part of the conscious source without having your individuality taken away. And that's really what this is all about here. Liberty or enslavement. Individuality, individuation, or you're in the soup. Which do you want to be? That should tell you what side you should be on. Wow. Okay. We already know a new civil war is on the verge in Iraq. It's like I said in this last video, things are just falling apart. We can't fix anything because that's not the objective, okay? The objective is to cause as much strife and division in the world as they can so they can keep up with the defense spending, the military spending, the banking, all of that. I talked about that nonpartisan committee that had indicted Bush and Obama for war crimes, and that wasn't an indictment in a court. You got to understand that's still Congress's responsibility. But this bipartisan committee has all the evidence. Has anybody been prosecuted? No. Has anybody been brought up on impeachment or trial? No. Congress, you're either going to do your job or you're co-conspirators in a crime. Do you see what's happening here? And you folks out there, all these security things are to protect them, not you. Because when you wake up to this, you're going to want to chase these guys down and lynch them. And they want to have a system in place to protect them from that because they know that they're criminals. We got to do something about this now. All right. I had some other things I was going to say, but I think I'll just end up here. Non-compliance is going to have to be the name of the game. And we need to start forming small groups that can work together, where you can trust people. I've said that before. Gather your friends and your loved ones around. You get your supplies, all those types of things. But we have to get as independent from this system as possible. Oh, and they'll try to force you back into it. That's what Obamacare is all about. That's what the taxation system's all about. That's what this, an immigrant from Mexico doesn't even need to show his papers to get a driver's license, get medical care, or Social Security. But if you're an American, you do. Is there something wrong here? Of course there is. They're trying to enslave the American people. They're trying to destroy us. Well, there I go on that again. Well, so what am I saying? Civil disobedience is a right. When the government gets to the point, I don't want this to turn into a shooting war. After what I saw happen in Boston, I'm surprised one didn't happen there. there are criminals in our society, and we need good police to keep them at bay. But when you police consider every citizen a criminal or potential criminal, and then you act accordingly, that's not the school I went to. You know, when we had a robbery in a banker's zone, we didn't shut down the whole city and go from door to door hauling men, women, and children out at gunpoint. There's a thing called reasonable suspicion, probable cause. I know, they're teaching you all that doesn't make any difference anymore because we're in a state of war. And that's not right. You know, to say that the entire U.S. now is a battlefield, those congressmen and senators that say that, they're disgusting, despicable human beings. Nothing here is to do away with that Bill of Rights. It's unalienable, and government is supposed to be here to protect those rights against infringement by anyone. And just because the majority out there might want gun control, which isn't the case, by the way, the polls aren't saying what you say they are out there, you guys in the government. They're quite a bit different than that. If nothing else, by the number of people that are buying guns, boy, they're voting with those dollars. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, you go out there and you say that, oh, the majority wants us to do this. That's why there's the Bill of Rights. There is no majoritarian coercion. It doesn't exist under proper constitutional government. 2 wolves and a lamb for dinner. That's what you want. And that's not what we've got. Okay, well, I've gone off on this a long way today. I'm making an appeal. We have to get back to our moral framework. And most of the American people are not going to do that. So it's going to be left up to the people who make that conscious decision in their heart to do it. And one of my very best friends, he considers himself an atheist, okay? He doesn't really believe that there's a God. But you know what? He will die for you to exercise your liberty. So he believes in liberty, that other way of saying the God that gives us life. So it's by their fruits you will know them. If they go for your liberty, if they agree to protect your liberty, if they go along with the principle of liberty, they're godlike. They're on the good side. If they want to enslave you, they want to, tell you what to do every minute of the day, they want to provide your security, they want to do this, they want to do that, cradle to grave stuff, that's enslavement. That's the evil side, the wrong side. Make your choice, America. Liberty or slavery. Let's see where you stand. It's going to be soon time to start gathering up the right people. And hopefully there'll be a place for us to go, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening, or a good day, depending upon when you get this. I don't know if it'll be the 29th or the 30th. Next one I'll get right for sure, okay? Thanks a lot.